Most people look at the Pixel 10 Pro Fold and focus on the giant display or Google's AI tricks. But the real breakthrough is hidden in something most of us never even think about: the hinge. Google ditched traditional gears entirely and built a gearless hinge. A move that sounds risky, maybe even aggressive, but it changes how this foldable feels and holds up over time. Why does that matter? Because in a foldable, the hinge isn't just a moving part. It defines the whole experience. Every open, every close, every smooth motion you feel comes down to that hinge. And gears, which almost every first-generation foldable used, come with a pretty big flaw. They collect dust. Once those gear teeth start catching particles, the motion becomes grainy, stiff, and over time it ruins what should feel premium. Google's engineers looked at that and said, why accept that at all? So instead of 4 gears locking both halves of the phone together, they replaced that system with cams, a mechanical setup that turns rotational movement into perfectly synchronized motion without needing gear teeth. These cams are spring-loaded. That means when you open one half of the phone, the other is literally pulled into motion with it. No grinding parts, no metal teeth, just one fluid action that stays consistent even after thousands of folds. And by removing the gears, they didn't just make it smoother, they made it cleaner and more compact. Traditional gear hinges take up more internal space because they need room for the mechanisms and the gaps around them to allow movement. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold doesn't have those gaps, which means no easy path for dust and debris to sneak in. That sealed nature is what allowed Google to push for an IP68 rating, something foldables used to struggle with. That extra space also unlocked a few upgrades that people might not immediately link to the hinge. Bigger screens, thinner bezels, a larger battery. Even the grip feels better because the hinge sticks out less, so the phone sits more naturally in your hand without that subtle mechanical bulge that some foldables still have. It's one of those engineering moves that seems minor at first, but ends up improving the entire device experience from every angle. And here's where it gets interesting. Google isn't alone. Samsung made a similar move with its Galaxy Z Fold 7 using its Armor Flex hinge, which also avoids traditional gears and instead uses a water droplet style design. That hinge let Samsung slim down the Fold 7 significantly. Clearly, both companies see mechanical simplicity as the future of foldable hinges. It tells you something about where foldables are heading. The flashy outer features, cameras, displays, AI, they draw attention, but the real innovation is happening underneath, in the structure that makes a foldable actually feel reliable. People don't want a futuristic phone that feels like it could break any moment. Removing gears removes one more mechanical weakness. It's a quiet engineering win, but one that makes a real difference in long-term use. Foldables used to feel like a tech demo. Cool, but not entirely trustworthy. Now, with gearless hinge design, slimmer frames, stronger seals, and more efficient internal layouts, these devices are starting to feel like true daily drivers rather than niche gadgets. And for people like me who actually love the concept, compact when you want it, tablet-like when you need more space, that matters a lot. I've always been drawn to foldables. There's something undeniably satisfying about unfolding a bigger screen from your pocket. They have that futuristic appeal while also being genuinely practical. But like a lot of people, I've been holding back because of one thing: the crease. It doesn't matter how nice the hardware is or how powerful the phone gets, if every time I scroll, I feel that dip in the middle, it breaks the illusion. Apple is rumored to be working on a creaseless hinge system for its first foldable iPhone, reportedly coming next year. If they manage to deliver that, combined with this new generation of gearless, dust-resistant, slim-profile hinges, we might finally hit the point where foldables stop feeling like a compromise and start feeling like the obvious next step in phone design. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold's hinge might sound like a niche detail, but it could be one of the most important shifts in foldable engineering so far. It's a reminder that sometimes innovation isn't loud. It's not always about radical new features. Sometimes it's about stripping things away, removing moving parts, simplifying mechanisms, tightening tolerances to create something smoother, more durable, and more refined. If this is where foldables are heading, cleaner designs, better durability, smarter engineering beneath the surface, then the future of this form factor looks a lot more promising. And honestly, that makes the idea of finally switching to a foldable a lot more tempting. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. See you in the next video. Take care.